Man, yeah, just wear the beanie. That's it.
That's pretty solid. I feel good about that. That's a good way to start this. Get the attitude up high, you know.
Good trade 2Js if you could become Wolverine.
Where are you getting all this information?
I definitely heard some rumors about it. Are you still going? I get goosebumps thinking about it because it's like you can hear them get.
The car, I was going to qualify and I was going to drive that out the racetrack.
Just threw the hood over the ditch and
Longest employee of Knox.
You did some digging there, huh?
I'm super pumped to meet as many people as I possibly can this year, especially those that are smart enough to use FD Podcast at checkout, save themselves a couple of dollars on their FD tickets. Those are the people I really want to meet, mostly because I get a ton of high fives, a bunch of thank yous. A couple people tried to give me some money for it, but nope, didn't take it. But yeah, if you want to be one of those lucky few people to save some money, use FD Podcast at checkout. Save a couple bucks. See you at the event. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone, the official podcast of Formula Drift. My name is Jacob Gettens, and today we have a highly requested guest, Mr. Kristaps Blušs. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm good. Enjoying the time back home. Summer is coming. Season here back home is approaching. Watching FD live stream and just having a good time.
Nice. Is it, I know you've taken a hiatus from FD before, but like, is it different not being there or like having to kind of watch from the sidelines?
It doesn't feel different, but I would say it feels more like familiar. You've been there, you've been racing with those guys, most of the guys, and it's just like, you know what's going on, what's in the pits, what's in a judge tower. You see so many familiar faces. Yeah, it's just like a part of me.
I got you. I wasn't sure if there was like maybe not like regret or anything like that, but just, you know, not being there. I know some drivers just get like really antsy watch. Like some drivers don't even watch if they're not competing, and they're like, I can't do it unless I'm there racing. I don't want to be around it.
I did it when we left FD back in 2019, that season I wasn't watching. And then really? slowly I get back into it. And now, it's not like I'm missing it, but, it's fun to watch, definitely.
It's gotta be interesting too, to see like just how many of your body kits and like different pieces are now in the sport. Like, I feel like you showed up with the first carbon Kevlar car and then everyone's like, oh, that's a really good idea. And now if you don't have it, it's strange.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think the pure or raw carbon Kevlar came up in the time when we brought the Eurofighter, 2018. But actually it was the E46 that we drove back in 2015. It was with delivery, and underneath it was already a carbon Kevlar. We just didn't thought that it's cool to have a raw carbon Kevlar because it looked kind of like too simple. You needed more colors and more attractive car, and that's why we didn't thought it that way. And then one of the first other cars that we built for the customer, we just sent him over in a raw carbon Kevlar, and he kept it like that. And from there, it started picking up so many, what is called attention. And then, afterwards, we decided to do it ourselves. So basically it wasn't at the very beginning our idea.
Was that E46, wasn't that called Croco or Croco?
No, the one that was called Krakow was back in Europe. Because there was so many. We ran the supercharger on that car back in the days, and there were so many pulleys with the cog belt, and that's why it was so many teeth all over the place. That's why we start to call it Krakow.
Okay. So like short form for crocodile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I remember there was a funny story. I talked to the Frederick Asbo in the pits, and not actually in the pits. I think it was after party from after one of the events. And he asked me, hey, do you know what means Krakow, like what it stands for? Like, is it something to do with the drugs or something? It was like, no, not at all. But that's the funny explanation for the Krakow. Yeah, I think it's coming from the crack or something like that, right?
Okay. Yeah, I thought there was like two of those cars. There was like Master Krakow, and then there was like, which was the non-FD legal one, where you guys did all the crazy tube frame in it, and then you essentially had to rebuild that car, but FD legal after, and then send it over.
Actually, it took, I think, some time for the Harris to build a FD legal car, because the very first one, E46, was the kit car that was completely 100% tube chassis. Krakow, there was a half tube chassis. The rear suspension was the whole tube chassis. The front wheel left it as it is, and then the third generation E46 became as it needs to be, like legally.
Right, and that tube chassis, wasn't it to like adapt a different subframe for the rear end?
Yeah, it was E92 subframe on a E46 installed. Yeah, and unfortunately, I crashed that car here in my home track. There was a circuit racing event, and they asked me if I can do a high-speed entry on the fastest turn in Biterniki. That's where the straight ends. And I think I went like over 130 miles, and the steering belt fall off, and I just went straight into a wall.
Jesus. Yeah,
and
that's no fun.
That was the dead end for the Krakow. Yeah.
I can't imagine there was a ton left of that car at that kind of speed.
Luckily, the whole chassis took the hit, and there was no big, I don't know what it's called, damage, not the damage, my health. And I was good to go. And the next day, Nicholas gave me his E46, and I did, because that was the practice when I crashed. And the next day, when was the main event, I get back into a different car and did the same thing, just to get rid of that bad karma.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, getting back on the horse kind of thing. Like you messed it up on that entry, and it's like, okay, well, I just have to do it again to know that I can do it.
Yeah, of course, I needed some physio afterwards, but it was all good.
Yeah, I could not imagine crashing at that speeds. I know you've done a few like big high speed entries as well. You did in 2017. Was that the same one in Riga, the 204 kilometer entry?
Yeah, that was that 204. We are talking about the same event. That was the same
so
weekend.
That same.
2004 was on that main event with the Nicholas car E36. The day before, the Krakow had much more power, so I could gain much more speed. And that was something like maybe some 10 miles, even more than I did with the E36. Yeah, I think in the kilometers it's 215.
Jesus, that's crazy. I mean, I can work in both, but I mean, we have a lot of American listeners. You start talking in kilometers, and they tune out. Yeah.
So I'm saying, it's probably 130 or something. But we're doing the same in the Gothenburg. But the biggest difference probably that there is no blocks in the turn. So you have a straightaway where you can just fall into a braking zone without big damage.
Yeah, you got a little bit more room if things start to go wrong. Little easier on that one.
Yeah, crazy. Like, I'm coming from the circuit racing, and I'm used to I call myself like a speed addict. So everything that is fast tracks, fast entries, I just love it. Like, that's why probably Road Atlanta is one of my favorite tracks as well.
Well, I mean, and winning there in 2018 definitely helps that. That's for sure.
There were other good events as well. Like, I got podiums in the E46, I think even 2 times. Few times I was robbed by the wrong implementation of the rules. Yeah, but those are stories. Like I have a bunch of them. Like from those 4 years we were spending in FD. Good time.
Is it? I mean, the judging is always a subject. Like it's always a sore subject, and I don't know. I've being behind the scenes, I've never seen anything that looked corrupt or people paying off judges or anything like that. And I thought it was funny, especially with this past weekend where people were upset with judges again. I'm like, it's 2 new judges. Like there's only one guy that was working that was there before. So you can't say that, that's the problem. Like these are 2 new people. But I guess from the driver's perspective, it's very different.
It's just easy way and a short talk to say it. I was robbed instead of like giving explanation of the whole story, what's behind. I like that you talked to the Jared in the last week, and then I think one of you guys said like after every single like unusual case or situation, there is a rule that is being implemented into a next event. So you can't predict everything. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's so many situations that go on. I mean, you can even take the Connor situation where he DB'd right before he hit the wall. Like, and because of the new, like a lot of the changes, it was dealt with in a way that was very different than previously. Because realistically, when we still had protests, Turk would have went, oh, he DB'd, the protest would have been made, it probably would have been proven, and then Connor would have lost the battle right out because you can't change the tire on a DB'd. So if you DB'd before the contact, I know that one caused it caused a huge uproar. I mean, still causing an uproar even now. So, but it's tough. Like I think a lot of fans don't really know super deep into the rule books. They just look at it as unfair without understanding every single detail. But I'm glad they're passionate. I'm glad they get excited about things, even if it's negative excitement, because it means they're invested in the sport and in the drivers.
Hey, come on. Even me as a former driver or just like last year I was driving FD, like I saw that situation in Long Beach, like both guys kind of are on fault, and was like, hey, what they gonna do? Like, what's gonna be a call? Because I had no clue also what way it's gonna go. And that's why you need those judges who are really, really deep into a rule book. They know every single sentence there. Because me and I bet many other drivers has no clue what's going on in that rule book. We just go out and drive and do our best, and then those tricky situations just pops up, and whatever is called, you have to deal with it. It's if you don't like, just, I don't know, go and sing or dance and figure out something else.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a judge sport, right? Like it's not like hockey where it's like definitive, like the puck went across. I mean, even in hockey, the puck doesn't always go completely across the line. They have to check replays and reviews, and calls are brought back and goals are disallowed. Like there's almost no sport in the world where it's definitive, and then once it's done, it's done. Like there's always something that goes back.
Yeah, well, maybe next race the judges give you a call back. So like in the hockey, so there's so many penalties, and in the next period, judge gives it back few penalties, and that's how you probably can stay positive and just look forward for the next event. Yeah.
Speaking of hockey, I have to ask, we've been slowly getting more and more FD drivers enrolled into a hockey game. If I can get this sorted, would you fly back to the US and play some hockey? I mean, we're going to have to cut down on hitting because I watched some of your highlights and holy shit, you can body check.
Not anymore. Like I'm playing in the amateurs league, and back in the days it was allowed. And then those injuries, when the jerks like we, who are not professionals, they can just like do much more worse things like with the other players than the professional does. And that's allowed, but definitely. I'm playing hockey now, I think for 13, 14 years. And I'm not gonna learn it ever, I guess. Well, it's just too complicated. Yeah. If you can sit in a car and drive and instinctively do crazy stuff in the hockey, no, I'm not like disaster on ice, but I would like to play with some other guys. If I don't know, some other guys are playing hockey, definitely I will probably beat them much more than I did in a racetrack.
All right, I think there's been a bunch of people that have like reached out now, so I'm gonna try and set something up where we get all the FD drivers who play hockey together to have a game, because I think that'd be hilarious. I just don't know when. I don't want anybody. Salt Lake City people said, but I'm concerned guys are going to get hurt before they have to go race, so might have to be a Sunday thing.
Definitely, yeah. I would fly out of the first flight to US, like compared to if I would need to go to FD now. So that would be probably more attractive for me now. Well, much easier, of course.
Right. Well, yeah, you don't have to fly a car out, right? You just have to, grab your hockey gear and ship all that out. So,
or you can buy all the stuff there.
Could do that. I do have to ask about flying cars out. You are only one of two people that I know of that have flown a car from Europe into the US. Is that, I know it's not cheap. I don't want you to tell me how much, but like, is it easier than putting it in a container and shipping it across? Like,
it's pretty much the same. It's definitely much faster. It's like, I think the price back in the days was something like you buying a ticket in a business class. So instead of the business class seat, you just have the car in your luggage. And that's what it cost. Yeah, actually there was one of those few times that we did send the car by airplane. We were sitting on the gate and waiting for our flight, looking in our plane, and we saw how the car was loaded into a same plane. So actually, I did flew with the car in the same plane. And that was funny. Like, what's in your baggage? Car.
A race car.
Yeah. My car is underneath down there.
Yeah, you could like put all your luggage in there too. I mean, you could have it all filled up and then you don't have to worry about bringing anything on board. That's that's not a bad setup.
Unless it's in a certain size, you have to take off the bumpers and the crash bars to fit on that pallet that goes underneath the passenger airplane. That's fine, yeah. But if you ship it as it is, like without touching it, it's probably some cargo plane needed or something like that.
That's so crazy. That's super neat.
Well,
it's like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, if you're in shortened time and you are just addicted to the race, whatever it takes, that's what you're gonna do. Like, we've been selling so many parts, the guys, and they're like complaining that the bumper doesn't arrive or some other part doesn't arrive. Like, yeah, if you look from that perspective, we've been sending the cars, like spending, I don't know, 20% from the season budget just to make it in the first round. So, all in. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be at that level, it has to be all in. Like if you're hesitant, if you're holding back, you're not going to do well. Like you have to put your entire life into driving at that level.
Exactly. And just believe that things are going to sort out. And that's how it usually, most of the cases have happened back in the days. Yeah, we tried to run our FD program like being like out of money completely, just borrowing from the friends, getting the plane tickets and trying to get back to States and do the event. Yeah, those were pretty crazy times. But at least we have now a lot to remember now.
Yeah. Well, those rough times make for really good stories, right? Like, I don't know about you, but like some of the shittiest times of my life, I look back now and I'm just laughing at it because it's like, it's kind of funny in hindsight. But at the time I was like, this really sucks. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but yeah, it does. It does make for good stories.
It definitely sets. I mean, like there's two tapes for the good times and for the bad times, and like in your brain, the memory, and yeah, definitely the bad stories are I think they are more I don't know, lot much to remember, and then yeah, just to feel good that you got lucky out of the situation instead of just have fun. Yeah, it was a good fun, good weekend. Nothing much like the rest of them.
Yeah. But meanwhile, when it's happening, you're like, we have no money. We're all hungry. We're tired. The car's broken. You know, I'm driving like shit or whatever. And then it's like, you look back, you're like, oh, that was a pretty fun weekend. Like, you know, you forget all that part and you're just excited about the one really cool thing that happened.
Exactly. Yeah. We have so many stories from those FD times, like because we were doing logistics ourselves. We were driving truck and trailer to each event ourselves, and when your truck engine blew up in the middle of Wyoming, and you're just living in a parking lot for 6 days trying to fix that truck, like taking apart that engine, shutting down the cylinder, then putting back together, trying to start it up with the pull. It doesn't work, and have no shower, just a few bucks to get the food. And I think I counted. I was in the shower for 7 days. So once I got into a shower after that was 7 or 8 days, I was like, is there like anything better than just like fresh water on your body? Like you need so little to feel like extremely happy. So these are those stories. Like it's worth to remember. Yeah. And it's good to tell people, and definitely no doubt, I don't regret every single minute what we spent on back in the days. Yeah, because we were singles. We didn't have the families. We didn't have that. I would say big business. So we were like a free birds, and we were just like having fun. Like most of the guys now, the newbies in FD does. Mm-hmm. Borrowing money from the parents, the friends, and helping out each other, and just chasing your dream.
I think those experiences are important though, because it teaches you, a lot of perseverance and patience, and like how to get through that shit, to get to a point where when you don't have to deal with it, there's still occasions where bad things happen, but you're like, this isn't nearly as bad as what it was previously, so I can deal with that. I find a lot of people that are really successful in business have stories like that, where they can go back and explain when they didn't have any money, they had no work, they had nothing, and then once they got through that, it's like, oh, anything I'm dealing with now is easy. Like this, you can go back to broken down in Wyoming when things are crazy at work. Yeah,
well, you can say it also, like if you don't have the money, you struggle. You have to go through these weird situations. But rich people also cry. They have their own problems. So whatever side you are, you still have to deal with it. Like you can't like in the judging. Like you can't predict what's gonna hit you next. And life is life. Like you just take it and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I do want to get into a little bit of the business side of things, just because, HGK has been around, I think, a lot longer than most people know. But what's that journey been like? Like, where did it, from my understanding, it started with like handbrakes, and then obviously goes way further now. But yeah, how did that all start? Where does HGK even come from? Like, what does it mean? Or is it like Krakow, it doesn't mean anything?
HGK, like, if we go like 20 years ago now, 20 years back, actually, I just like lately realized that I've been in motorsport like 20 years. It's like half of my life. That's crazy, and it feels like it's like 5 years. It's 20 years. Wow. So quick, I guess. But it was back in 2004 when we were doing some like time attack events back home, and we were pretty good on those. And then we decided to step into a circuit racing. There was a national class, BMW E30s, with 2 liters engine, and they made like, originally it was 130 horsepower, and the rules allow us to modify the engines. So basically using only the stock parts, and we somehow managed to pull out 180 horsepower from those cars, which is like half of the original power. Yeah, it's crazy. I still don't get it where it comes from. And we start to do the circuit racing, and we were 3 guys, Haris, Guido, and Kristaps. And that's just first letters from our names. We tried to look for some cool name. I don't know. I think we're looking into some what is called mystic meaning of the words. I don't know, something like that. But at the end, I just came out so simple, and it's just easy spelling. And that's how it began with the circuit racing, actually. And only back in 2008, 2009, we switched to the drift when it started here in Latvia.
Yeah, because you did pretty well in like the Baltic series as well, right? Like there's the Latvian series, there's the Baltic series. I think you took 2nd and 3rd in those. Like you obviously have been racing for a while, and you're pretty good at it.
It's actually called the Eastern European Championship. There was all the Baltic states. It was Ukraine. It was Belarus. It was Hungary. What else was there? Russia as well. And yeah, I'm 2 times champion in that series there. It doesn't exist anymore because back in 2015 when we started when I applied for the petition, I wrote it in my CV like I'm champion of this and champion of that. And then there was a rumors that since I was I was a part of the authorities in that championship, that we made that championship specifically to get into FD, because I won it. I was one of the owners, and that's how I got the petition or entry to the FD. So basically, to calculate such a thing within, I don't know, like 5 years, a plan that you'll be doing everything like, I don't know, based on a situation like, and then that was the one of the funny stories I heard. That's how we managed to get to the FD.
That's funny. Yeah, I've always I was going to wait a little bit, but might as well get into it now. I feel like you have a weird kind of mystique around you where, people are like afraid of you or always feel like there's something going on, or like, you might be secretly an assassin or something along those lines. I don't know if it's just the personality, but yeah, that story goes into it. Like, is it just the Latvian thing? Is it the Eastern European thing? Like, why do you think people have that feeling about you?
I think that's first thing is like Latvia is next to Russia. We have a border with Russia. Yeah, back in the days, we been racing and spending quite a lot of time there. And as well, the first time when we came to FD, there was the Kabargin, the Russian driver who was competing in Pro 2. And the way how we I don't know, represent ourselves. I don't know, coming into an FD. Like, if you remember, there was that double-decker bus built, the first drift Corvette, that crazy E46. We were flying, taking cars in a plane and all that stuff. It's just, I think that's where it came from. So just the guys from nowhere just shows up like the billionaires, and now they're gonna rule the party. I think from there, and also, I don't know, we don't smile that much because we are from the north side, so there is quite cold. In the winter time, we have a daylight, I don't know, like 5-6 hours a day. So there's nothing happy to be about, like you're living in the dark. There's no reason to smile because still nobody sees you. But and that's I think somehow it just pick it up like that we wasn't so I don't know, friendly, not cold, friendly, but we weren't talking much. We just were doing our stuff. And just, I knew just a few guys in FD. That was Ryan Turk, who was in Riga a few times, and Chris Forsberg, and that's it. And we just went there like we did in our region. Like, we just went to different country just for racing. There was no other target or plan. See how it goes.
Yeah. It's just always interesting like that. You know, the concern or the rumors of like what Kristaps is or who he is and all that stuff. It was always funny. I will say you scared the living shit out of me in Atlanta last year when I was up in the booth and you came up behind me, and you also have gigantic hands, and you like grabbed my shoulder and just whispered into my ear. You're like, "When am I going to be on the podcast?" I froze immediately. So I think just you being you and your kind of twisted sense of humor adds to that. Like, if people don't know you, that would it did scare the living shit out of me. But like, I think I knew enough to know that you were just trying to be funny. But yeah, I think you play into it a little bit.
Hey, even my wife are telling me that my humor is like weird. So what the other guys who haven't met me in real life would think about me. Yeah, I might say a sentence that I think is funny or a double meaning, but like, especially in America, many people didn't get it because I think they think the way you say it and you pronounce it, like it's just serious talk. But in many ways, like also I think we spend a lot of time with Radan because we were like one of our base was in his shop, and only like I don't know, in a few months he just start to understand that what's joke and what's serious when I'm talking. Like
takes a little bit of time to learn.
It takes a little bit of time, yeah. So I don't like to be a public. I don't like to run with the camera all the way around. I won't be YouTuber ever. Like I just hate that shit. Like I'm too busy and too overwhelmed myself, like just to enjoy and just, I don't know, sit in my hole and just living my peaceful life, and instead of like living for someone else. That's what I'm thinking. What's is all about the YouTube stuff. Maybe that's why I don't have that many sponsors ever. I don't know. I'm just
I could be.
used to do it everything myself, like whatever it takes. Nobody's giving you a free money.
Yeah. I think just you being kind of quiet too, you know, that lets people, like if you're not speaking for yourself, then it allows people to speak for you. And they just, you know, if you're not saying who you are and what you do and all that stuff, it's easy for people to make up stuff because it's like, well, he's not telling us, so this is what I think. And then that turns into, this is what the case is. So yeah, I don't know. You're also just, I like a little bit like I think just your stature, the way you look in general is a little intimidating. So that that just adds to it. Just, makes the whole thing work.
That's why you can't sell me in US, right?
I mean, unless you just unless you just leaned into it and you became like the quintessential Eastern European bad guy, which you're not. Like, so that wouldn't be easy to do. I mean, I'm sure you could be, but
I could be like in those specific situation I need to be, but like I couldn't be like I cannot fake myself like in the long term. So. That's what it is. I never really liked a lot of attention to myself. All the cameras, I was struggling on the very beginning when I become more and more popular and successful in drifting, and so the attention you're getting, like signatures and photos and selfies, and I don't know, everybody, like you go out in the street, you go in a shopping mall, everybody recognizes you. Still somebody does, but not as much in the back days. I really didn't like that, because that kind of like robs your private life, that you want to just go somewhere as a normal person, nobody recognize you, and just do the normal things. And all that celebrity stuff is just kind of like locks you up in a cage. Where you, I don't know, have to be a normal. I love speeding. I love breaking the rules on the street. But if they're gonna what is called, catch me. Yeah. I might, the federation can take my license and I won't be able to compete, that season. So I have to kind of hide those things that are illegal and not show them to the I don't know, new generation, like how bad I am.
Well, I think people have a hint now, but once you become a public person, like once you're put out there, it is different. It's definitely a different. I mean, I'm just starting to go through it, and it's like it's weird. It's really weird. I have people who bring up moments of like the broadcast that I don't remember because it's happening in real time. I don't remember, but they do, and they're like, "Oh, you said this thing." I'm like, "Sure." Like, yeah, okay. I don't know. Like, probably it sounds like me. So I understand where you're coming from, although I wouldn't say I'm nearly at the point that you're at. I feel like you get stopped in the grocery store much more than I do.
I don't know about that. Well, let's keep it behind the scenes. But okay. As well, like if you remember last year when there was that a fight with the Chelsea, and I think it was team Stokes team, Stuckey. Yeah. When he said those few bad things, and then how much was the attention to that he might get, I don't know, sign off from his sponsorships and stuff like that. That's why maybe I just try to keep it between me and myself. I just do whatever I want. I can go to the Jeff Jones pits and tell him the things, and somebody else, and nobody can really punish me for that. And
I'm glad you brought up the Jeff Jones thing.
Yeah, I think that's that's why many fans see me at like outstanding the personality, that I'm just doing the different things differently than the others. I'm not so polite. I don't smile that much. I just crashing it, I guess. It's just my guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of freedom when you get to that point, because like you don't have to worry about keeping other people happy. You can just do what you want to do and be who you want to be, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I guess probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had a really good quote that I think was your entire biography at one point on FD, which was "Be yourself and people will gravitate." So I think that's why you became a fan favorite. And I mean, really still are in a lot of cases, because you just were like, well, I don't have anybody to, like sponsors wise, I don't have that many to piss off. So I'm just going to drive how I want to drive and act how I want to act. And then I've got nothing to lose.
Exactly. Yeah. Just keep it simple, I guess. Yeah. Don't have those. I don't like a small talks, because I think it's a waste of time. Like you can say 10 sentences, 20 sentences, and still without a reason, just to have a small talk or a chat. Like you better, I don't know, do something else in that time. So just go, I don't know, sweep the street. I don't know, change the tire. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do something else. Small talks, that's definitely not for me.
There's an old phrase in kitchens, which is, if you can lean, you can clean, which is like, if you're not doing something, you can be cleaning. So it's funny you mentioned you don't want to small talk, yet somehow I got you on a podcast to literally just small talk for an hour and a half, but I'll take it.
It depends from you. If you can, I don't know, pull out from me some fun facts or all these situations. Yeah, like I've been in a podcast with the Robbie Works back in the days. I think it was like maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. And actually, we set the record. It was like something around 5.5 hours. It was a long one. The guys were thanking me that they're driving through the Germany, and they're like, "Hey, the whole Germany was gone, like in one podcast."
That's a long one, man. 5.5. I think 4 is my record on a podcast. So as much as I'd love to do 5, I think my work could get mad at me for recording for that long, but.
We had some beverages. It was a weekend, and we had some beverages. That's why it took probably that long, because within every next glass, you just some more and more funny stories pops up, and you just can't stop. When I'm drunk, I love small talk.
It's amazing.
I need to be drunk.
A little bit of drinking will do.
Yeah, I need to be drunk to have a small talk, I would say.
Well, that's why I was asking earlier if that glass was full of vodka. I was kind of hoping, but
no. It's still it's working days. I'm a family man, and have my abilities to do every single day to run the company, and just a straight focus. Yeah. And season is approaching, so I have to get clear of all the bad habits.
Yeah, you'd mentioned previously that like before an event, you'll try not to drink and like keep the week really clear. Is that still something that you do?
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks?
2 weeks. Actually, I tried it last year in FD. Well, that sounds weird that I have to cross the half globe and still do the experiments with my body, but I did that before the Atlanta, and I did that before the Irvindale. Maybe that's a coincidence, but those were the better events, much better than the Orlando and St. Louis. And looking in the past as well, yeah. When you like stay focused, stay clear, and with the right attitude, and clear your mind and your body, the results are like outstanding, way better than if you're not, unless you got really lucky.
Well, I think we've seen more and more drivers lean into stuff like that over even the last 5 years. I mean, Turk and Field and Osbo, working with physical coaches or mental coaches. So, I mean, it's a professional motorsport, so I don't see why not.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember that the year 2017 and 18 were the years that I was like 200% like a machine mode. I had like six physical activities throughout the week, sometimes even 2 in a day. And those were actually the years I got the best results in FD. And I remember back in that time, also Matt Field started to think about this way, or I don't know if I can say that, but I try to assure him that this is the way, what you need to do. Because sometimes we were living in the same hotels, and I'm going to the gym like 6 a.m. in the morning, and he comes down like 7. I was telling him, hey man, you're fucking late. This is gonna ruin you. And around that time, also Ryan Turk started to really pay serious attention to that. But that also, I think, is something that was he just had to do it. He had the back pain or something like that. And if you look back and see, that's when you can call yourself a professional athlete. If you are just doing a pro level competition, like I'm not gonna name, but I know there is a few guys. I have no clue what they are doing in a pro league, but they call them pro drifters or professionals. But otherwise, you just like the guy who is having fun and trying to make money out of it.
Yeah,
athlete.
I think there are people who are taking it way less seriously, but I think, when we talk about a Matt Field or a Ryan Turk, who's, had an incredible couple of years, like those are guys who are putting everything into it. Matt, everyone jokes about Matt with his battle ropes, but it's like the dude's, on the podium at the end of the year for the last couple of years. Like there's something to be said about that. Ryan Turk, same thing. Like there was jokes about him just eating bell peppers like apples, but then you're like, okay, well, look at his results. He was qualifying first in Long Beach. Like, there is a correlation there.
That's definitely something they didn't figure out themselves. Somebody told them that. Somebody teach them. Somebody shared the knowledge, and that's what you have to really pay attention to. That if you want to really, get the better results, at least get on a podium. Like there's still so many drivers in FD who've been competing, tens of years and barely getting close to podium. So what the hell are you doing there? Like what's the reason you're like trying to, keep losing? Like I hate losing. I don't know. Maybe there's a guys who just used to it. I'm a loser. I'm just gonna get fun. I hate losing. Like that's why I'm always saying like if I lose the ball, I lost it because of myself, not because the opponent won. In most of the cases, that's that's maybe excuse that he's better than you. But still, you have to mentally tell yourself that you are better than anybody out there. That's why I don't have any idols, because I'm idol for myself. Like I don't want to be like somebody else. I'm just be badass myself.
Yeah. Like that, just that winning mentality, right? Like the headspace of being focused on just winning or being positive or
maybe even like I'm afraid more to lose than willing to win. How about that? Okay. I don't like to lose. It's not about the win. I just don't like to lose.
The fear of losing is stronger than the want of winning.
Yeah, because sometimes for myself, like when you get to the finals, like you go through the top 32, top 16, top 8, top 4, you're like 100%, 110% focused. Whenever you get in the finals, you're in a podium. So you're the star of the show for tonight. And then that the whole kind of like, maximum attention just falls, like gives you like a little bit to lay down, like kind of you relax. I'm on podium, and then there have been so many times when I messed up in the final because I'm just like, oh, this is almost like a win. I'm on podium already. But that means you're from the top 3 winners.
Yeah.
Because everybody remembers podium. Nobody remembers who is in a 4th, 5th, or whatever, 2nd place. Mm-hmm. So that's it. And then you kind of like, and I have lost so many battles because of that. Because I kind of like lose that, the focus, I guess.
Yeah. You feel like you've accomplished something already. So the hunger like disappears.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I've never looked at it that way. I'd be curious to go back and see how many over your entire career, how many second places you've gotten just to understand how often that's happened. But I mean, it's obviously a few.
Yeah, well, in FD it's specifically because if you don't have the third place battle, so whenever you're in the top 4, you have 2 more battles left. So either you're gonna be the 1st, 2nd, or the 3rd. So you still, if you lose in the semifinals, you can still be on a podium. But I think, that rule definitely needs to be brought back, the battle for the 3rd place, because the guys, it cannot be made decision just based on qualification. Whatever that was yesterday, that was far gone. I mean, like give those 2 guys the best top 4, give them another way to show themselves, because that's the kind of a small final, and that's definitely whenever you get that far with every single battle, you just get better and better and better and better. It's not unless you just get lucky. Somebody, I don't know, all the car breaks down in front of you, but and end of the day, you are in a top shape. You are like, compared to where you were in the top 32, either it's the big final or the small final, you just go like, you're like out of your, I don't know, different level, definitely different level.
I think now, especially with, no qualifying, that it becomes more important because realistically, Odie got 3rd because of his performance last year. So in Atlanta, it could be the same case, right? If somebody just did better in Long Beach, they're going to get 3rd automatically, which like part of me is like, oh, that's cool. You're getting like another bonus for doing well the event before. But I understand what you're saying. It should come down to how you do today, not how you did last round.
Exactly. It's a different story. Like, I don't know, you were in a bad mood. I don't know, you were cold or something. Like, it's completely different race, and you can't get some benefit based on something that happened, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. It's just not fair. FD, you have to change that rule for the next round.
You're not the only person who's brought it up. So, I don't know. I know a lot of the FD staff listens to this, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is something they missed when they made this non-qualification race format.
Yeah. I think the rebuttal would be just the timing of the show and stuff like that. But I could argue that like, hey, cool, we take a break after top 4, right? That allows our 3rd place battle to get their tires, allows our final battle to get their tires, and then we have our break, and then we do the 3rd place battle, then we do the final battle right after. And that way, that last segment of the show is a good block. So, yeah,
exactly.
I don't care either way. But
well,
I mean, I'd like to see it. Yeah. If
you are in the top 4, you are good. So those guys definitely won't mess it up. Those if the cars got that far, they are reliable. If the guys got that far, they are in a good mood. That's their night. Give them the ball. They won't mess it up. They won't crash it. Definitely most of the cases. I don't know. Somebody maybe can look at the stats, how many crashes been in the finals or top 4 compared to the, I don't know, top 32 or top 8. Well, top 8 is already the good level, but those guys are there for a reason. So give them a ball.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the hard part is if there is a crash in the third place, you can't just run the final. You have to wait until the timeout's over, which could be as long as 15 minutes. So that's the hard part with it. But I mean, arguably, people aren't going to leave. Like, you're not going to lose viewers because we're waiting 15 minutes. Like, they still want to see the finals. So, yeah, I see. I mean, I see both sides.
Compared to the halftime break.
Right.
I remember, like, you do the ball top 32 and then you have to go to sleep. I don't know, do something, try to stay occupied to spend those 3 hours. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
I think the halftime break was a lot shorter in Long Beach. I think it was an hour and a half or 2 hours on this one, but I know what you're saying. It's
yeah, there's a lot behind it. There's like all the merch and the sponsors, and you have to all do that stuff for the to I don't know, to pay it back or whatever you call it. But well, at the end, it's all about those clowns who giving you a show.
Mm-hmm. Look, we all enjoy wearing FD merch. I know I do. If I am not wearing a completely black outfit minus this hat that has about 100 different names for the color, teal, seafoam, whatever you want to call it. But when I'm not wearing this, what do I got on? FD merch, of course. So head over to shopfd.com, use the coupon code podcast24, just the numbers, don't spell it all out. Save yourself 20%. So that is shopfd.com. Get yourself some awesome merch, maybe a skateboard deck, maybe, can we bring bucket hats back? Let's do bucket hats. Everyone go get a bucket hat. And if you do, let me know. And let me know that you save 20% by using podcast24 at checkout. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's got to be a tough juggle between keeping drivers happy, keeping sponsors happy, keeping the fans happy, right? I mean, I would always argue that fans should be first, just because without the fans, you don't have drivers, you don't have sponsors. But yeah, it just depends. Like, there's so many decisions that have to be made to balance all three of those.
No, it's just one. Yeah. It's not much to ask. It's just one ball.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I will concede on that one. I do agree with you, and I will cast my vote to bring back the third place battle on that one. So yeah, Sage and Kevin, if you're listening, yeah, let's go. Third place.
You can count on my vote too.
I appreciate it. So I have to ask with the winter and hopefully the snow's clearing for you. I don't know if there's much snow left in Latvia right now. There might be, but
no, it's gone.
Did you get out to do any Lada drifting over the winter?
Absolute zero.
Ah, man.
Yeah.
I think I love stuff like that. Little shit car drifting is probably the most fun in my opinion.
I definitely agree with you. Definitely. But the hardest part about this is to get to that place where you have to do that. You have to prepare. You have to prepare the winter tires. You have to take the car there. You have to do so many stuff, like, so you can enjoy that day. And that probably is just too much. I don't know. That back in the days, it was easy. You just sit in a car and you can spend the half of the nights on the woods, on countryside roads, and like we did back in the days. That's part of the probably how you can become successful, because whenever the season starts, you're sharp, you're warm. Mm-hmm. You've been doing that the whole winter time. But lately, yeah, it's just I don't know. The older you get, the probably there is less time for yourself, I guess. You just don't have that much time for everything, like for yourself. Yeah. So many things and kids especially. And I don't know, a lot more things to think about, to care about.
How have you been balancing that? Like, obviously taking a step back from FD this year, but kids, business, those are, the two big ones for you, I would assume right now.
Doing pretty well. Like, I I missed my time back in the days when from 2015 to 18s or even 19 and 20 when I did like full, actually a lot more, I think 10, 12 years, full seasons. Like you have 12 to, 15 races throughout, 5 months. And that's a lot. That's a lot. And at certain point, you just probably get tired of that or used to that, and you don't need that much racing anymore, or at least you need some break. I mean, like if I do now, 3-4 races a year, it's completely fine. The rest of the weekends, I can go out with the boys with the bikes. Some serpentines in Alps and much more stuff, like spend the time on the beach. You can sail. Actually, in the summertime, I'm sailing as well, like with the boat. So I know how to drift on the waters as well, how to change directions and stuff like that, upwind, downwind, and stuff like that. See, I have a lot more advantages than the other guys in FD as well on the water, not only on ice.
I was gonna say ice, water, track. Yeah, I mean, I think you've got it all pretty much handled. You got to get your pilot's license now.
Oh, actually, I'm thinking about that. What could be the next? Because you're losing, like, there's not many things that can impress me. It's the older you get, the less you are impressed with something. You can buy a crazy high horsepower street car. It won't give you that feeling anymore because you've been doing that, for so many years. And those drift cars nowadays, they are 1,000 horsepower. Who can beat that? With a level of grip they have. And then, to start to look for some other options, what could take you away again. And it's getting harder and harder to find something that gives you like adrenaline as much as racing. But you realize that racing, maybe you have to a little bit take away and just find something else. And it's hard to find something. Definitely, it's not like you are impressed for something a lot. It's like, oh, cool, this is cool. Look at this, look at that. Oh, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. No emotions.
Yeah, it's the 1,000 horsepower thing is so interesting because it's expected now. Like when Daigo came over and was making those kind of numbers, it was like, oh my God, like this is insane. And now, honestly, if you're in pro with less than 1,000 horsepower, you have a problem. So we're kind of jaded by it. And I don't know where it goes next. I think it depends on what drifting as a whole wants to do and what tire manufacturers want to do. But if they want to keep spending money, then I think someday it'll get to 2,000. We're not far off, but at some point, it's going to change.
Yeah, crazy. By the way, there's a new tire, Kumho. What size is it? Is it bigger than Nitto?
Yeah, there's a 355 Kumo on a 19-inch rim. So
355.
That's what Dean Carney's running. Yeah, it's a direct replacement for the ACR Viper.
Jeez Christ. It's like it.
Yeah, I think the weight requirement is 3,800 pounds. I have to double check that, but I believe you have to be 3,800. So
yeah.
There's an option for you if you want to come back.
No, 355 is just too much. We can't, we just don't have no clue how to build that heavy cars. That's definitely not for us.
You have to start putting like lead paper on the inside of the carbon Kevlar or something to add more weight back.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, like, if you remember that C6 Corvette that we built, 10 years ago.
2015, I think it was. Yeah.
Based on the FD rules, it was allowed to run 245 tire. That was that light that you could go 245 and just still I bet it will keep up with any Mustang or the Viper. It doesn't matter what size tire it has, because it's just too crazy, I guess. Why why are they doing that? In Europe, most national series, like in a Pro Spec as well, they have limited size of the tire, and that's completely fine. That's how you can, I think, keep those horsepower fights like within some logical level. Because if, believe it or not, but like if you look back in the days, like 20 years ago, Pro Level was a street car with the roll cage, right? 300 horsepower. Any M series BMW back in the days, 300 horsepower, you get. Back in 2015, actually, that's already like 10 years ago, those cars were not exactly, but very close to the cars the FD is running now. If I would pull out my E46 from 2015, it will be still the same competitive in any big series like it was back in the days. So basically that technically cars haven't that much improved within 8-10 years last. It's all the same ingredients, pretty much the same power. Like you can't, I don't know, think bicycle again, figure out. It's still the same. So that's why actually when we went last year to Atlanta, I was so pumped about the situation that we brought back the car, that we competed exactly the same spec in 2018, and we easily got to the top 4. Luckily for one, that my crazy transition didn't work out, because I was just pushing him through the turn. It was just an inch of matter if we would make that or not. But see, it's the same car. So basically, everybody, or the newbies or the new drivers, have to be lucky about that there is no such a what is called over something new that you can come up and build like crazy car and have so much advantage against the other ones. So it's all the same, pretty much the same. And that way, the less weight you have, the bigger advantage you have. Faster acceleration, faster braking. So those heavy cars, they are, I think, even has disadvantage than advantage, having those big tires and those crazy big weights.
I mean, I think there is some advantage to having a heavier car, that they tend to look smoother, whereas the lighter cars are a little more twitchy. And I think that's just because of the amount of mass and momentum that's moving through it. But I mean, that's one side of it. But I know what you're saying, that like at the level we're at now, you need a car that can react quickly. You need something that, like, if you hit the brakes, it's going to actually slow down. It's not going to take another 10 feet to slow down. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how this year goes, looking at somebody like a Stuckey, who, like, his new build is crazy light. I think he's only got 40 or 50 pounds above the weight limit. Like it's really close, as opposed to, you know, an RTR or a Dean Carney that's at the upper levels of our weight limit, and just see how they perform. But obviously you're more on the side of light with carbon Kevlar and everything you guys are doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, we last year, just to be on the safe side, I was taking a 3-gallon water bottle next to passenger seat, just to be sure I'm on the safe side with the weight, because we were on a very, very, very beginning, just over a few pounds above the minimum of 279. Like, I think it was up to 280, 290. we were to 280, till 280. So it's it doesn't really pay matters that much. I would say 20% car. It needs to be reliable and the really pro level build, and 80% driver who will decide the outcome of the battle.
The 3-gallon water bottle, was that as a cool suit or is that for drinking? Like what was the conversation with Kevin on that one?
That was for drinking. I bought the tube that I put it in that bottle and just attach it to my shoulder. So in case he asks, that's the water. I just like to drink a lot.
That's smart. I like that. I like that one. Guys are so hush-hush about some of the things that they do with the cars. So I'm glad you're opening up a little bit on ways to bend the rules, if you will.
It's not the bend, it's just how you implement them. You're doing nothing wrong. Like there is no limit of the water, how much you can take water in your car in the rule book, right?
Yeah, for Long Beach, I was there through most of the driver's technical inspections, and I saw a few fun things where, where nitrous tanks were placed and how big they were. Batteries are always a big one. There was a while where guys were running 2 RV batteries, rear mounted. They were, this big that weighed, 80 pounds each, so they could move ballast around. So yeah, it's always funny just to see how people can manipulate things. I'm a fan of it. I mean, if it passes, even if it doesn't pass, I don't care. Like, I just like the creativity that people have.
Yeah, we even had last year a skid plate for the diff that weighted like 50 pounds. So we have all the weight as low as we can get it. So that was
like a tungsten skid plate?
You needed a jack to take it off and put it back on. Because you can't just lift it above your head. It's too heavy. It's not big, but it's quite heavy. So yeah, all those small things that you, within a year, try to figure out, like, what's wrong to have the weight as low as possible, right? Instead of putting the one big R&V battery somewhere in the trunk, you just like hang it on a diff and have
like
more
that.
grip
We're going to
out of
see
it.
we're going to see a whole bunch of people doing that now. I'm all right with it though.
Yeah, but that also, Kevin, might count it as the extra ballast, and there is a limitation for that. I think 50 pounds or 35 pounds.
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't remember. Yeah, so we were within the rule book in a perspective of that. But yeah, tips and tricks. Tips and tricks.
What do you think is next for drifting? Like, whether it's technology or builds or chassis? Like, I feel like with your company, you kind of need to look ahead and be prepared for what's changing. Is there something that we haven't done yet that we should be, or a chassis that we haven't developed yet that maybe you guys are developing?
Oh, this is really hard. This is really hard. This is that we just were talking about, like that the level of those pro level drift cars are being the same like for those 6-8 years. Well, you can always can improve something on a new chassis, but at certain point you just stop. There's nothing else you can figure out, and then you swap the chassis and you start it all over. Like, you need probably 2-3 years to figure out all the limits on your specific build, and then you just do everything the same. And what the biggest changes probably lately are compared to the cars that was 5 years ago, that the finish look how much attention to the details interior, like how good looking cars are. If I remember I was talking, I don't remember what driver, also one of the top teams now and lately. And their idea was it needs to do the thing, like it doesn't have to look good. It's on a purpose that, like, you don't need the carbon dash or closed interior doors or I don't know, food tray or something like that. You just, like, I don't know, bend the piece of metal and just attach it to the dash with the screws or the nuts, and it looks fine. Look how good builds are coming out. This is the biggest change lately, not technically, if not counting the guys who are working hard, like RTR team, trying to find that needle somewhere in a suspension, how it works and blah, blah, blah. But otherwise, it's just, it's all about much more fancy looking cars, because we always been telling, like, the race car needs to be like a toy. It needs to look cool. Nobody from outside, they're all the same. And when the fans coming over to the pits and just looking into the cars, nobody wants to see their grass growing and oil like splashed over the place. Look at that crazy build. And that's what HGK stands for. And that's why it takes like 6 to 8 months to build the proper car, not like within 2 months, like most of the cars are out there. So I'll give you a good example or the fact. I won't say the names, but lately we sold one of our drift cars to one of F1 driver. How about that? See?
Damn.
That's crazy.
You can tell me
shit.
the name after. I want to know after. You don't have to say it here, but
no, this is a part of the agreement, and if sooner or later it will pop up, but I can't do it. So this is. I don't know how you are feeling. I am getting goosebumps still myself. Like it's just crazy. Like when I saw the message. It wasn't the message. It was the SMS from the bank account, like who transferred the funds. And I was shocked. I was behind the wheel and I was cold. I was goosebumps. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, is it really like? So.
Well, I mean, I'm holding out hope after seeing like Max Verstappen and Mad Mike Wadette do something together. I was like, and like, he just immediately picked it up in a very difficult to drive car. You know, those rotaries are not easy to drift. And I was like, I think I said it when it first came out. I was like, could you imagine a Max Verstappen coming into FD and just decimating people and then being like, okay, I'm going to go back to F1 now. Or, I mean, I think honestly, almost anybody on that grid, the F1 grid, barring a few people, could probably come over and do really well in FD. I don't think it would take them long.
Definitely. Look at that WRC driver, Rovanperä.
Yeah.
He's champion last year, and he's the top guys constantly. And he's going to the Drift Masters, and he's shredding like a maniac. And he haven't done it like, I don't know, for 10 years. And definitely he can surprise. Maybe he's not as stable and his car is not as good as it needs to be, reliable. But he's shredding crazy. Those guys, like, they don't need any practice or knowledge. They just do it instinctively. Like, and especially in a drift, all you need to do is just improve your reaction time. There is no time to think. So you have to like do it instantly. Like the body works himself and the head just looks where to go. You don't think like you're going to pull the handbrake or what their trial and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I bet like those onboards where guys are filming their feeds. I bet like they're learning a lot from themselves, like what they're doing and looking on the, I don't know, on a GPS log files, what part of the track you did what. Like the James Dean, like he's like a musician, like look, like a trumpet.
Yeah. The biggest thing I always notice with high level drivers, especially as they get like further in through the battles, like you talked about, is the lack of hesitation, where their hands aren't just moving needlessly. Like they grab the e-brake to grab the e-brake. They don't like reach out and like sit there for a second. And that I have found is the biggest indicator of somebody who is driving well. Like I don't even need to see her run to understand if it was a good lap, just based on, are you moving with purpose or are you hesitating? Because if you're hesitating, it's probably a really shit run.
Definitely.
And yeah, you're right. You can't think. There's no time to think.
You can see from the onboards if there is a chaos or not. Like I have seen some of the onboards, like even from this last weekend, like there is chaos going on in that car, and there's nothing good is going to happen. And imagine there is even drivers who are doing that with one hand. The other hand, they are not taking off from the handbrake. There's guys who are just running with one hand, everything. Well, not to mention the guy from the Poland who is doing that with two legs. Like there is no hands.
No hands.
So
no
and
limits. Still
limits.
crushes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's
it's all about the instincts, I would say, and the seat time definitely. Because back in the days when I started doing professional racing, not even drifting. I wasn't drifting. I was only on the streets and then on the I don't know, like on the side streets in the suburbs. But I try to do as many hours, laps as I can in the practice in the circuit racing. No matter like how good you feel that day, how good are tires and stuff like that. You just went from A to Z, from 9 to 10, and that's it. And whenever there is the flag, you just finish then, and you just countless driving. The more seat time you get, the more potential uncomfortable situations you got into, like when the car wants to just go sideways and stuff like that, and you instinctively just catching up those situations, and it just sooner or later just your body just gets used to it, and then just it's all about your head condition, I think, and that gives you a result.
Do you think with how accessible high-level cars are now, do you think that is going to help or make it harder for drivers to progress? Some context to this, it's a discussion I've been having a lot lately. So if you look at some of the best drivers right now, like let's take a James Dean or Connor Shanahan, Frederick Osbo, they all started in really shit cars. They all drove really bad cars and learned how to drive that car well, and then jumped into what we have now, and they're dominating. Whereas nowadays, I mean, if you have the money, you can buy an FD level car that's perfect, and you can just drive. Do you think that is going to make better or worse drivers moving forward?
I think that to have a shitty car is the worst you can have. If you're going above the limits, you're racing, you shouldn't have a shitty car. Then better don't do it, because it will be waste of money, waste of time, and luckily you will get healthy out of it. Definitely it needs to be a good quality car, but you should start with the low horsepower. Horsepower, like 300 horsepower, 4, 5, definitely. Don't start with the 8 or 1000, because you have no clue what's going on. You have no grip. You have no acceleration. Like you just like shredding the tires without any any knowledge. And if somebody will grip you up that 1,000 horsepower car, like give it to the, I don't know, some of the very bottom list of the prospect driver, the James Dean Mustang. The same setup he's running, not just to give him a loose car, give him a competition setup car. He's going to crash it immediately. Straight.
Yeah.
Straight. And there been like how many crashes again you saw in the Long Beach in a practice, not talking about the wet conditions. That means, started with the low horsepower cars and just make sure they're good. Because whenever you pull a handbrake, you want it to work. Whenever you push the brakes, you want to stop the car. Whenever you are back on a throttle, you want a throttle open, not having a delay or just or misfiring or something like that. So I would say, that's, and then if you start with the good quality built low horsepower car, that's how you can learn how to become a good driver. And that's not only drifting. You have to do some other disciplines in I don't know, kart racing, time attack, or easiest ways just to have a car that you can, I don't know, do a non-stop driving like for an hour. Like back in the days, we were running those how you call them? Not the Le Mans, but long distance races, like 4 hours.
Endurance racing.
Endurance racing, yeah. When you get into a car, there is no air conditioning. You have like those 60, 70 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much in Fahrenheit. That's like, I don't know, way above the 100. Because 100 is 37. That's only
like,
I know.
Yeah.
So you have 2 times.
It's like 140.
2 times warmer, than 100. And then you have to sit in that car for 1 hour and just drive, do the circles, lap after lap. And then you just, when the next shift comes, you step out from the car and you're losing, it's called, like you're about to pass out. Like you can't stand on your own feet. So that's where you check your limits. Like in FD, like in those summertime races like Orlando or Texas, sometimes you have to sit there like half an hour in the same heat. Okay, now they have a cool suit. That's the big advantage. Actually, I never used one, so I'm still the old school guy who does it the classic way. Just sweat it out. And
that's why you needed a 3-gallon water bottle.
yeah, that's also something that explains. But I can't drink it all out because then I will be below the weight. But do as much as seat time you can, and that will give you the results sooner or later, definitely.
Yeah, I've heard it from a few people now where it's build something and then drive it as hard as you can until the car is holding you back, where you can't get anything else out of the car. And then at that point is when you need to upgrade, get more grip or more speed or a bigger tire or something. Like drive it to its limit where you can't get anything else out of it, and then you can upgrade.
Imagine I've been competing back in the days, like when there was that Eastern Championship, the Juha Rintanen started to coming to our region, and he had the 200 SX with the 17 or maybe even 18-inch tires. I was on 15s, on 195/50 R15 tire, competing against him and winning. See, that's where probably I think that that big weight and the tire size doesn't give you advantage, or that big advantage compared to the less weight and smaller tires. So basically, look what Chelsea is doing now. Crazy. Like he's going out and giving those all the kids so crazy good example and I don't know how you can motivation to shred, because going out there with those 200, 300 horsepower cars and putting that show up means the guy who is next to him can do the same. It's not like he's having a better car. He has the same. So whenever you get to his level, you will be the same.
Yeah, like the driving he's been able to do with that Fox body is crazy. And, it's really, it's impressive.
Yeah, go to the grid life, chase Chelsea, and you become a professional FD driver. Yeah, because he does all that stuff with the low horsepower car, and you can do a lot more. He's doing like twice as many other who has their like 600 horsepower. That's it.
Yeah,
take it to the limits.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to crash. Don't be afraid to crash. Yeah, you will fall, but just stand up and keep going.
I got to know what you've got planned for this year. Like what's obviously not doing FD, but any other driving. Obviously, there's some sailing. It sounds like, but what are the big plans for this year?
The biggest plan is to run the national championship, because I never been Latvian champion, never ever. Not in a circuit racing, not in a drifting. The best I was in the circuit racing was second. In the drifting, I only, within all these years, competed only one season, and I stayed third back in 2010. So this is my first goal, to do the national championship, maybe to become a champion. Who knows? First time ever, Latvian champion. Another, maybe I'll do the Drift Masters if I'll get into a wild card list in Riga. Usually I do, so hopefully things won't change. And then in the autumn, there is the FIA motorsport games. Those are they call it Motorsport Olympics. There's like over 20 disciplines, and one of them is drift. And a few years ago, I won. And I want to go back and maybe try to do a comeback, back to back.
So, might as well.
So basically, that's, as I said, like between 5 and 6, 7 races. See how it goes, and that's more than enough.
Yeah, it seems like a good balance, especially with everything that's going on at the shop. Are you heavily involved with like day-to-day stuff at HGK, or do you kind of more of the owner role where you just oversee it, or are you like covered in resin right now?
I'm more than involved in HGK stuff. Like I'm 90% everything what's going on here. Like sales wise, like basically many guys doesn't know, but over the emails and the sales and stuff like that, I'm behind that. I'm not signing as a Kristaps, but I'm doing quite a lot, because I still haven't found the guy who can be better than me. Or I have a problem with that I'm just a control freak, that nobody can do better than me. And I just want to control everything that's going on. And so I'm, 5 times a week from 9 to, I don't know, whatever, 5 p.m. I'm at work, and just working as all the other guys, and hopefully giving them an example that hard work pays off.
Yeah, it's super hard to hire people in general, but especially for a role that you're doing yourself. I've run into that quite a lot, and it's like you're like, no, I'll just do it myself, or like you always know you can do better, put in more hours, because no one is going to care about it as much as you do because they're not an owner, so they just can't care about it as much.
Yeah, whenever it's 5 o'clock, its shift is over. You drop off the gloves and you're gone. And sometimes I feel like, well, everybody is doing their own part, and I'm like what do you call it, a dirty clothes cleaner. Like I'm taking all the troubleshoots, all the fuck ups, if you can call those, like wrong part deliveries and stuff like that, because I'm so much in, like, I'm not building physically those cars, but I perfectly know what part needs to be on that car, and that's why I tried 2 times actually. It didn't work out, so I'm still doing it myself. But I'm enjoying it and been doing this for 20 years. And lately, I thought if I ever can get out of it, like, am I like for life with the HGK? I can't just quit, like shut off the doors and just go do something else. And do I want it? I don't know. So. Unless everybody's happy, and the sales, like I told you lately, just give you an extra motivation. Like it might open us doors to some bigger and crazier projects, because but we are thinking like we could do some crazy builds. It doesn't have to be a drift. It can be like, I don't know, hill climb car or rally cross car or something, or just a show car like the Vaughan did for the Hoonigans. And but you need somehow to find that door where you can just step in and the guys know who you are and what you are capable to do. So, because sooner or later that drift will stop, not will stop, but will just stand flat, and the guys will figure out how to build those pro level cars themselves, and they already do, and we feel that because years ago, if we did like, I don't know, between 4 and 5 builds a year, then it's not that much anymore. We do maybe 2-3 cars a year, but we sell so many parts instead, because many guys learned how to do it. Somebody copied them. Somebody just learned from the pictures. Somebody learned from themselves, from the experience. And why to overpay HGK if I can do it myself? But it takes a time, because still after building a cars all these years, we still, like, every single car is slightly different, because you still figure out maybe technically or track wise it's the same. It will drive the same, but maybe you figure out something that will help or will make it simpler or more reliable. And it's just like a never-ending story. And the guys also become better and better, and all that creation, that's the masterpiece. And I'm just one piece of the puzzle in that whole thing. Like, if one of the guys quit, like, we can't assemble the body kit. We can't, I don't know, weld the exhaust or stuff like that. So you have to really stick with all the guys and keep them happy. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that on many levels, especially if you've ever met my wife, you would understand. But obviously what you're doing in drifting is incredible. I mean, I've seen some of your builds up close and in person. I've seen obviously a ton of the body kits come through, and it's stunning. It's incredible work. Like, it's as much art as it is race car. So I think looking to venture into another motorsport is not wrong. You know, drifting's getting big, and it's getting big quick, and it's getting bigger every year. But as a business, you also need to look at it and go, okay, there are other motorsports that have more money, that have more drivers, that have more whatever. And if you can get into those, then why not, right? Like, you set a high standard in drifting.
Yeah, well, we can live enough with the drifting, but also that's one of the things that also important is the guys. If they are building the same cars like for 5-6 years, they're used to it. It's routine for them. They have no challenge anymore. They perfectly know what to do, and it's just like you go to any other job and just do the same thing. Sooner or later, you're done. You burn out. And giving those new potential crazy build projects where maybe it's not that you have to learn something from the beginning, and then when you see the result, you're more happier than you maybe did 5 drift builds and stuff like that. And well, I like that this latest sale gave them some kind of motivation, because they are really now, like, I see that they are like really looking on that car, that this car is going to go to some really cool guys. So we have to like polish it to every single corner, and make some like no fails are allowed.
Yeah. Well, it's such a huge opportunity to get into a space and in front of people that maybe you haven't before, right? And if, you know, any of the drivers on grid, whoever it's going to, like, that's just massive. So yeah, I agree. It's such an opportunity to showcase what you've been able to do to those people. I think it'd be cool to like start hiding some fun little Easter eggs in there too, and, you know, hide little logos or things embedded in the carbon or something like that.
Yeah. But we're just too occupied. Like the guys from Drift HQ are keeping us busy with all the parts that we sell in US, and we just so occupied to do that I barely can ask the guys to do something on my, I don't know, street car or something like that. Like our own race car is still the same as it came from the FD, like all beaten up and waiting for the new body panels, because we don't have those. We have to serve the customers, and then afterwards just take care of ourselves. And so things are, have to admit, probably great, not excellent, great, more great than good, but and that's most important. That's probably the results of all the shit we went through all these years. Me and Harry just living in a parking lot without a shower.
Good throwback. Love it. Cool. Man, as much as I don't want to wrap this up, I kind of want to leave it open for more stuff later on. I mean, I really appreciate you doing this and making some time. I know how busy your schedule is, and it took us a little bit of back and forth and a lost microphone, but we got it sorted. So it's been great. And I do really, really appreciate what you and the company and what you've done for the sport, because it's changed what drifting looks like. And I think that's kind of the coolest part. Yeah,
it definitely wasn't done on purpose. It was just that's the team we got, and that's the level. Every single person just gives a hand and just do those not making what is called creation, all those crazy builds. Yeah, and I think that's. I would like to think that now the way of how FD cars are looking is also maybe something to do with us.
I would think so. I still maintain that probably one of the most beautiful drift cars I've ever seen is Simon Olsen's Supra. Of all the vehicles, that thing was I mean, it's still around. I know he's got another one that's in Norway too, but like, it just stunning. I mean, until he crashed it in Seattle, but
Yeah. Actually, that's their own build.
I know,
was
but I meant like
many
body
other
kit and
parts.
everything else.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, soon we have another Supra now. We are working on, and it will have the kind of like a facelift or the version 2 body kit. It will give some more accents visual to the one that we made, like some little changes. But trying to bring new things into a market, because you can't sell same thing like for 5 years and stuff like that. And many other companies are stepping on the back of us and making also really good stuff. And you have to be just try to be one step ahead and just keep the style, keep the momentum.
Well, if you ever need a E46 to test things on, an E46 hatch for the record, let me know. I'm a big wagon guy, and nobody makes good body parts for wagons anymore. But
no, those are too rare. Like we're getting crazy questions sometimes, like people like they asking, will you ever make a body kit for the, I don't know, like the car I never heard. Like it's just like people think like to make a body kit is just like, I don't know, like to get a milk in the shop or just to make a pancakes. And that takes some time and crazy big investment. Like, I don't know, you have to sell like, I don't know, between 10 and 15 kits just to get back the money you spent on making new one, the first sample.
Yeah. Just the molds and everything else. Yeah.
Not even talking about the time, how much it took. Like, well, gladly we have a good team and the guys, outsourcing guys who are helping us to achieve our, well, it's not the targets probably. That's what you call it.
Yeah, dreams, whatever you want to call it.
Goals.
Like
Exactly.
it. Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I will let you know about the hockey game whenever we get that sorted. I'm more than happy to have you come over and show these young bucks what's up. Are you planning on coming to visit any FD rounds or anything like that this year?
I might. I like definitely Irvindale. It gives me a good emotions. Well, I was a year before we came last year, and I remember that when we came first to FD, I was other side of the fence and just hanging in that fence and looking at those cars and that crazy noise and. It's sometimes useful to be on the other side and see how crazy it actually looks from outside what we are doing. Because sitting in a car, it's just much cooler, much simpler, and everything is like in a slow-mo. And stepping out of the car and being next to that fence, I think lately I'm getting more emotions, imagining that I can potentially do the same sitting there and how crazy it looks from outside. So that's something really cool. Like sometimes you can't believe it, how it looks and what the guys does. Like when you be knocked out, like in the middle of the race and you see the finals, you just can't believe that, you are part of that field.
It's very surreal to be a part of all this. It's incredibly hard to explain to people. And I mean, I can't even put it into words myself. Like I've had a few moments where I've stood back and I'm like, holy shit, this is a thing that I'm doing. Like what is going on? So. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, like I said, really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. This was awesome. Hopefully people are less scared of you now. We'll see. Or more scared of you. I mean, I guess it just depends. But, thanks again. And for everybody listening and watching at home, appreciate all the support. If you are looking for a crazy build or just some insane parts, make sure to check out HGK. I'll have all the links down below. And any final words?
hopefully see you soon, and just keep doing what you're doing. And as I said, like don't overshoot with the horsepower. Make it more difficult for you, and the success will come. For the drivers, for the fans, thanks for your support, and it's crazy, how this sport is still growing and still picking up. I thought like 5 years ago it's in a maximum level, it was still picking up. So can't wait to see where it will be after another 10 or 15 years. Like exactly, yeah. What cars we gonna drive? Will there be any electric cars?
Man, I think that could open up a whole can of worms. We're gonna have to get on to the next show, that's for sure.
Okay.
All right.
At least we know how it looks on the paper. So ourselves, we have developed one, and but it's just too expensive to do it straight out from the pocket.
Everything's expensive until it's not, right? And you get enough of them and it becomes cheap. So I don't think we're far off. But all right, cool. Thanks again, man. I will chat with you soon.
Okay. Bye.